Jalen Brunson is the sole reason that the New York Knicks are about to win an NBA championship, and it has nothing to do with basketball. Do you remember when Jalen Brunson took that pay cut so that he could pay other players on his team? And not a small LeBron James pay cut. It wasn't $1 million, $2 million. Jalen Brunson took a $113 million pay cut so that the Knicks could build out the rest of their team. And what does he get? My Bridges, Carl Anthony Towns, OG Ananobi, right? He built out an entire team because he took a pay cut. That is going to end up being a revolutionary move in the NBA. When LeBron James does it, he takes a $1 million pay cut and he's like, oh, go sign somebody. That doesn't do anything. Jalen Brunson allowed the Knicks to build out an entire team around him. Not only can he win a championship this year, but when is he going to be able to stop winning championships? If he's that selfless, next time it comes around, Jalen Brunson will get the big contract. Somebody else take a pay cut. Knicks keep winning. What he did there in that mentality, if other players adopt that, you're going to see the NBA change forever. We've never seen a player take a pay cut that large and then see it pay off the way that it's about to pay off for Jalen Brunson. That risk that Jalen Brunson's $113 million pay cut was a risk that nobody else would have taken, but it's about to pay off this year because the Knicks are going to win the NBA championship. Joe Mazzulla got exposed for not being able to coach the Boston Celtics. Last year, when the deck was loaded and everything was perfect, Joe Mazzulla was a great coach. This year during the regular season, great coach when you can just stand there and do nothing. You don't have to draw up plays. You can just let the guys go out there and run. As soon as the postseason starts and stuff hits the fan, all of a sudden Joe Mazzulla can't coach anymore. And he disguises it with this cool, calm confidence, like he doesn't have to answer the press, he doesn't have to talk to other people, he doesn't have to discuss what's going on with the Celtics. But then they're not very good. So it makes you think, is Joe Mazzulla that confident or is he incompetent to the fact where he doesn't even want to explain the level of his unknowingness to you? Joe Mazzulla completely disrespected Kristaps Porzingis by benching him in the NBA playoffs. Kristaps is an 8-year NBA veteran. It's not like he's some rookie that just walked in off the street and we just found out he couldn't play. We know that Kristaps can play. He played all 82 games for the Boston Celtics. He's been there multiple years in that system. Why all of a sudden does Joe Mazzulla think that Kristaps can't play basketball anymore? That's the reason that the Celtics didn't advance in the final round. When Jason Tatum went down, they needed some more star power. They needed somebody else on the team. Kristaps hadn't been playing basketball. He wasn't ready. Kristaps Porzingis should have been one of the Boston Celtics' 2 or 3 options, and they didn't even get him involved in the playoffs at all. And that's Joe Mazzulla's fault. He lost confidence in Kristaps to the point where at some point Kristaps probably gave up and just stopped playing. That's the coach's fault. And you're going to see that. After this year, the Boston Celtics are going to have to break up all of their contracts because they can't pay that many people that they have on their team. They're going to have to let people go. And it looks like, based off Joe Mazzulla's benching, they're probably going to let Kristaps walk. Jason Tatum's hurt for an entire year out with an Achilles injury. What are they going to do? Boston pretty much has to reset their roster, grade the guys that they have, get a bunch of draft picks, and hope to do some sort of Oklahoma City Thunder rebuild. Because the team that they have now is not good enough to win the NBA championship again. And now they don't even know what Jason Tatum's going to be like when he gets back. Achilles injuries are one of the worst injuries in the sport. So the Celtics have to break up everything that they have. They have to try to rebuild at this point. If they try to push forward with the roster that they have, that's going to result in a 10-year drought for them. They're going to miss playoffs. It's going to be hard to watch. They need to take notes from orgs like the Oklahoma City Thunder who have done rebuilds the right way. Trey Hendrickson was the starting defensive end for the worst defense in the NFL last year. So why does he deserve $35 million? He played every single football game that the Bengals had last year. Meanwhile, he got sacks. He didn't do anything on defense. Teams scored on the Bengals every drive. They marched up and down the field. So getting a sack for Trey Hendrickson, you're going to get the opportunities to get more sacks because you're on the field more. Because you're on the field more. Teams are passing on the Bengals because they know they have an opportunity to score every drive. So Trey Hendrickson saw probably more drop back attempts than other defensive linemen as well. His stats don't mean that he's that great. You could look at Trey Hendrickson and tell he's not working any specific moves. He's not great getting off the ball. He's not that quick. He's not that strong. He just has good numbers. But his good numbers on the worst defense in the league mean nothing. The Bengals could have me at starting defensive end, and they could still have been the worst defensive end in the league. It doesn't take anybody special to be on the worst defense in the league. So he's not worth $35 million. You get paid $35 million when you're the best player on a good defense. The best move that the Bengals have ever made was paying T. Higgins. T. Higgins is what makes Jamar Chase Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is what makes Jamar Chase Jamar Chase. When Jamar Chase can't be doubled because T. Higgins can take the game over too, that's a duo that the NFL has never seen before. The reason that Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL is because at no given point in time can you double him. The Bengals have too many weapons on offense if you double Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The Bengals will bust up everything that you have. T. Higgins is the most valuable asset on the Bengals roster aside from Jamar Chase. So any amount of money that they can pay him that's not the NFL max is worth it. He makes Jamar Chase Jamar Chase. If T. Higgins wasn't on the Bengals, it would be Jamar Chase, and Yosevas out there at receiver. They would put 2 or 3 guys on Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow would be incapable of throwing to Yosevas, and the Bengals would get exposed. If you put T. Higgins on the field, you can see in every single game last year, when T. Higgins plays, Jamar Chase's numbers go through the roof immediately. T. Higgins on the field drives Jamar Chase's production up. When T doesn't play, teams key in on Jamar and it's hard for him to get off. He still does because he's the greatest to ever do it, but it's just way more difficult. Just to put in perspective how good Shadur Sanders is, Jimmy Horn Jr. got drafted in the 6th round to the Carolina Panthers, and Isaiah Bond from Texas didn't get drafted at all. Isaiah Bond Isaiah Bond coming into the year was predicted as a first overall draft pick. Isaiah Bond coming into the year was predicted to be a first round draft pick. He had a down year and he didn't get drafted at all. Him and Jimmy Horn have the exact same game. Shadur Sanders made Jimmy Horn look so good that he got drafted before a guy who was originally a first round draft pick. Just think about that. Think about how many balls he had to catch from Shadur Sanders to prove that he was better than Isaiah Bond. They have the exact same game, short, fast, small receivers. One of them got drafted, one of them didn't. Every receiver that started for the Colorado Buffaloes got drafted into the NFL last year. Shadur Sanders is the reason that all of those guys looked as good as they look. There was only one person throwing them the football. Shannon Sharpe revealed in a recent Club Shay Shay podcast that he no longer has his $100 million deal. He was talking to Dave Portnoy and he said, Dave, I'm a free agent. He was basically hinting at him saying, like, Dave, like, I'm not signed with anybody. I want to work with Barstool. Dave Portnoy, I don't know if he picked up on it or not, but it seems interesting that he had Dave Portnoy on the podcast right after all of the allegations that we just heard. My assumption would be that Shannon Sharpe's going to sign some sort of deal with Barstool soon. And I hope that they make it work. Honestly, you hate to see somebody get everything stripped from them as fast as we've seen Shannon Sharpe lose it all. I mean, literally 1 month ago, Shannon Sharpe thought that he was going to get a $100 million deal that was going to change him and his family's life. He had probably planned to do all types of stuff with that money. Fast forward 30 days, he doesn't have any deal at all. All he does is his YouTube channel, his podcast, and Nightcap with Chad Johnson, and he's in a completely different position. That's how fast that you can lose everything. So I feel bad for Shannon Sharpe just based off how fast that it's happened. And it's weird that he revealed it in a podcast, and the way that he revealed it, he was kind of joking, like, haha, but you could tell that he was dead serious.